Friend of mine.
And just a minute, boys, I got the feedbox noise. It says the great-grandfather was.
Hello, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, and along with Drew Forster, we're going to go through all 8 races on the Hastings program today. Early post, 320.
320 to accommodate for the P&E.
Oh, yes, the lovely Pacific National Exhibition.
Back in town again. So, yeah, 3 o'clock start. A little interesting. It's a beautiful day here, so it should be a great...
We got a little extra, some props here, which is pretty nice. Of course, if you didn't see the Longacres Mile, of course, won by Taylor Said, owned by the North American Thoroughbred Corp. And here, we couldn't fit Taylor Said in the picture, but here live anyway. But we got the garland of roses.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, Mario Gutierrez aboard. Congratulations to the connections of Taylor Said, Mike Pewich, Troy Taylor, of course, the whole team that Glenn has. Great job for Taylor Said. No disgrace for St. Liam's Halo either. He ran a good 4th, but Taylor Said, the winner of the 77.
The mile is always a great race, and didn't disappoint this year. Another great race. Winning Machine ran a bang-up second. It was
those two put on a great
another
show.
Great stretch drive, absolutely.
Yeah, and a good run from Awesome Gem, who ran 3rd, troubled 3rd as well.
Yeah, he did have some trouble, didn't he?
Those are 3 great milers, and they put on a great show last Sunday. Hopefully you got to take it in, but we got living proof here that Taylor Said definitely this year's winner of the Longacres Mile. Let's get into this afternoon's card. We'll start off with some maiden 5-granders in the first. They're going to go a mile and a 16th. I'm going to the 3-horse Fei Ying. Not really a, nothing clever about this selection. It's a good runner-up effort to Oscar Award. Kind of made an early run down on the inside. It was easy second. Not facing a tough crew here. That was for 10 grand. Drops for 5. I got to go to Fei Ying. I put the 6-horse Dynamine in for second. Perhaps the distance change will help. It didn't care for it 2 starts back when setting a pretty lively pace. Maybe things will be a little bit more relaxed for Dynamine. I don't mind him at all. He looks as good as anything. And the 1-horse, Mr. Sandman, would be my 3rd pick. But definitely like the 3 Fei Ying off of that last run at the 10,000 level.
I have the same horses as you. I just flip-flopped a couple. I have Fei Ying on top. I agree. Oscar Award was a horse that was running knocking hard in the maiden allowance category. He dropped into the 10 and beat this horse. Now he drops down to the $5,000 level. I think he's the class of the race. He's never run long before, which is a little bit scary, but...
Pedigree says yes. Quite a few out of that mare Hyacinth have gone on to do very well.
Yeah, and Mel Snow's very capable. He knows what he's doing, so if he's got him in there, I'm sure he figures he can get the distance. I put Mr. Salmon in second because he's a little more proven to the distance. He had that second 2-back to excess dividend.
Yeah.
So I have him in second. And Dynamine, a horse you mentioned, William Vanaway's horse. Another one. Those 3 kind of stand out to me. I just flipped them around a little bit. 3, 1, and 6 for me. And on to the second race, a open 7,500 for 3-year-olds and up. And 2 scratches in here, we should mention. The 2 and the 3, Safe, Fabulous, and Wandering Dreamer are out. So we're down to a field of 5. A few different ways you could have went in here. I struggled a little bit. I ended up with Matchable on top. I really liked him last time. He took a drop down from the 12.5 to 7,500. He was favorite that day. He ran kind of flat. I don't have any answers for that, but Craig McPherson's more than capable. He puts him back into the 7,500. I'm just going to throw that race out and rely on Matchable. Second, I put True Grit. Cheapest tag he's ran for all year. He's a hard-knocking type. He's going to need some pace to run at. But Marlo Dunn's been heating up lately, too. Another one who went down. She rode a very nice race in the mile. And look out Dubai, the 6-horse. Been on a bit of a roll here. He's not getting much respect. They have him 10-1 morning line, but he's win 2 in a row for this price. He's going to be on the lead. I think they can run him down, though, so I have him in 3rd spot. 4, 7, 6 for me.
Yeah, definitely the complexion of the race has changed with the 2 scratches.
Yeah.
You've taken out quite a bit of the speed. The 2, say, Fabulous, who has shown speed in the past, and the 3, Wandering Dreamer. So the pace scenario is going to slacken a bit. I've gone to the 7, True Grit. Of course, made my selection before the scratches. But True Grit, I was hoping to get a bit of a pace. But he can lay close. He doesn't have to drift back far. If the fractions are 24, I think he shouldn't be more than a length or 2 off of it. He should be in good position. And as you mentioned, big class drop. Well, it's only one level, really, here at Hastings from 15 down to 7,500.
Because they don't have the 12.5s anymore.
Yeah, they've combined some categories. But still, he badly needs to get away from Bear Rock and Roll, who's just been dominating that that 15,000 category. So it's nice to get away from him. So I'm going to give him top marks. I put the 4 Matchable in for second. Not too sure if this horse can run long. He's got a bunch of sprints on form. Perhaps at this level he can. I'm willing to forgive him for his last. He had a bit of a wide trip. He lacked a little bit of position in that one zone own accord, a lasting peace race. So maybe the stretch out will be what he needs right now. And I put the 1, Good, Bad, and Ugly. He's a cool horse. Got his first win of the year at the 5,000 level. He's more than capable to step up to 7,500. He's got that back class. He's certainly in the mix as well. But I went 7, 4, and 1. But the race has certainly now changed with those 2 scratches of the 2 and 3. On to the third race. Got a field of 8 going a mile and a 16th. Another distance test here. 3,000 claimers that have not won a race this year. I was kind of torn between the 5, Dakar Guy, and the 7, Cannon Cool. Those are my 2 top picks. I went to Dakar Guy just because he may have a little bit more speed. Might be able to get out of there with Pedro, who's ridden him 2 starts back. He rode him to a good second to a well-meant Mo Power.
Yeah.
Thought that race was good. And so just whoever gets position out of those 2, I think, will likely win. I think they're very comparable on paper. The 7, Cannon Cool, has been freshened up a bit. Does have a work in 102. And I put too much dirt, the 2 horse, in for third. Might not get the needed pace scenario for him to win it, but still has some back class as well. Amadeo Perez, you always got to respect anything he's on. But I definitely like the 5 and 7, 7, 5. I didn't know which way to go, but I went 5, 7, and 2.
I took a little flyer in here. I went to the outside of the 8-horse Alaxa. He was in that Dakar Guy, Mo Power race 2 back, and then he's a horse I see kind of going the right way. He seems to really be improving with every start. In that allowance race, well, handicap or endurance race, our starter race, last time the endurance race, he was in. There's some tough horses in there, and he was making a big move and had to check pretty good. Yeah. So I think he's going the right way. It's a longer race, so I like Reyes on him. There's a lot of things point to him for me, so I went with Alax, a bit of a shot horse, the 8-horse in here. The second spot I put Cannon Cool. Horse that's been knocking on the door in these kind of events all year long. He's well meant in here. And the third spot, I took another flyer with See Eye to Eye, a mare racing against the boys. It's been really tough to get these mares races going along all year. Frankie Barabee, who's having a very good meet, decides to put her in against the boys. She's had 3 seconds against the girls in the same race, same category for the girls. So it's not going to be, it's obviously a tougher assignment against the boys, but I put her in for the third spot. So it's 8, 7, and 6 for me. On to the fourth, a 2-year-old maiden special weight, optional 40 here at Hastings, we call him. A couple scratches in here. The 5 really smoking out of the John Morrison barn, and the 7, Craig McPherson's horse, Kiri's Gal, who are entered back in the sales stake on Friday. Yeah.
Well, 5 and 7 are out. The 11 and 12 draw in.
That's right. The 11 and 12 are in, so we stay with a full field. With those 2 out, with the new ones coming in, I still don't see it any different. Tinkertown is the horse to beat in here. The one out of Greg Tracy's barn ran Officer's Charm. Probably the best 2-year-old filly.
Definitely the fastest.
On the grounds here. Definitely the fastest. Set blistering fractions on BC Cup Day here and got a little weary down the lane. But Tinkertown ran a very good second to a well-meant Officer's Charm first out this year. I don't see anybody giving him too much of a run for his money. The second spot, I put Regal Legacy out of the Van Overshot barn. That horse, the last race was better than it looked. He kind of got left a little bit. Enrique just let him settle, make one good run, and he made up a lot of ground in that 10:30 tracker, Lord Harlow. Another nice race there. With his second start, I think he improves a lot. And a little bit of a flyer. The third spot, I put Donna Ann, the 8-horse. She ran kind of green in the first out. She was up near the lead, set pretty honest fractions. She was just off some honest fractions. I just got a little tired around the back. Far turn, I think second start should be better meant. Having a race under belt, I see her improving. So I went 10, 3, 8, but the 10 I see as an absolute standout. Yeah,
so do I. I think the 10 is probably the best bet of the day. It's a nice colt, this Tinkertown. I've seen him work in the mornings. He looks the part. He's a big, good-looking gray horse that powerful, that has been working with 3-year-olds. I saw him work with Burnin' Britches one day, and he held his own against a stakes-type mare,
sprinter,
older mare. So, and you can tell Greg thinks a lot of this horse to even hook him up with a horse like Burnin' Britches. So definitely talent here. Unlucky to still be a maiden. He just ran into a very quick filly in Officer's Charm. Got into a little trouble in that race, but still, she's very fast, Officer's Charm, as you mentioned. She went 44 flat on BC Cup Day for the opening half.
That is British Columbia Cup Day, not Breeders' Cup Day.
Yes, that Breeders' Cup type fractions, though. But Tinkertown looks miles the best in here. Actually, half the field are fillies, so I think he's in a pretty good spot here. Tinkertown for me. I put another gelding, the 3, Regal Legacy, the one you like, in for second as well. I liked what I saw. got some good experience in that first up run, was passing horses. Definitely something to build on. I think he'll move forward, but I just think he may have his hands full with the 10, Tiggertown. I put the 6, Always Red on Sunday, and a nice filly out of the Peter Redicott barn that started the year off at Pleasanton. I came up here for BC Cup Day, but and you can see on form there the fractions that Officer's Charm set. 21 and 3, 44 flat, and this was laying second to it. So she was going pretty quick too. Gets Richard Hamill today. That's always a plus. But I think the 10 horse looks like the best bet of the day. I went 10, 3, and 6 in this afternoon's 4th race. On to the 5th. I got a couple scratches in here as well. We've kind of been
they come in doubles today.
Yes.
Every scratch, there's 2 of them.
In the 5th race, scratched the 5, Exilda, and also scratched the 7, Play for Peace. Number 12, Swap a Lady, does draw into runs, so put in the 12. But the 5 and 7 are both out. It really didn't. It took quite a bit of speed out of the race, which will, I think, help my selection. The 8-horse Waif, who was a good runner-up to Victoria B at this level last time. Just unlucky to run into Victoria B, who was running in some better horses. They went pretty fast, 1:18 and 2 as well. A repeat of that race should get her get her into the winner's circle. So I like the 8 Waif. I put the 2 Tencel in for second. Rob Van Overshot thought enough of this filly after she broke her maiden for 10 to run for 25,000, so I thought that was encouraging. Down here for the 4, though. It's time to start winning races. There's only about 17 race days left, so you can't give horses too many chances. We got to get down and take advantage of these nice purses, and so Tencel down on the class drop might be a big threat. I put the 3 Exotic Light, who's been knocking at the door. She's had a few chances. I do prefer the 8 or the 2 ahead of her, but I like Exotic Light the best of the rest. So I went 8, 2, and 3.
I got the same top 2, although I put Tencel on top. Her maiden score I thought was pretty impressive. Then she comes back, as you mentioned. Rob thought enough for her to run for 25. She was a little over her head that day, but he makes, doesn't dilly-dally, drops right down for the 4. She's well met in here. The Waif, the 8-horse Waif, as you mentioned. I like her too. I have her in the 2nd spot. The 3rd spot, I went with a horse that's running for the cheapest price of her career, is La Bronca. One that always seems to kind of pick up the pieces. Been running in way tougher races, against Queen's Vicar, Victoria B, those kind of horses. Now she drops in for the 4. I wouldn't be surprised to see her win it, actually, but I have her in 3rd spot. I went 2, 8, and 10. On to the 6th, Fillies and Mares, 17-5. This is one of those non-2, non-3 conditions we have here. And again, a couple of scratches in here. They come in 2, as I told you. The 5, Victorious Spirit, and the 8, Tecolote, who I had in the 3rd spot. I'll get that in a second. On top, I have Silver Street, a horse out of the red-hot Troy Taylor barn we just mentioned that won the mile. We're going to get into our Friday program. We're going to talk about the Canadian Derby. They're going to have the favorite in there as well. This one they claimed for 20 in San Anito this past winter. Thought enough of her to run it back for 32,000. Didn't get a whole lot out of that, but they've had her turned out since then. She appears here for 17-5, non-2, non-3, a condition she fits right into. I think she's going to be double tough in here. The 2nd spot, I put Danny's Chant, a horse that won this race 2 back. Still eligible because she's a BC bred, so she's over for the non-3 part of it. Run 2nd to a very tough Undo It last time. I did have Tecolote in the 3rd spot. With her gone, I'm going to switch. I'm going to put the 9, El Ciervo. Horse that ran 5th in this condition, but Amadeo Perez likes her enough to stick with her, so that's my new 3rd spot. It's now 3, 7, and 9. Yeah,
I've got the same sort of horses. I've gone to the 7 on top, Danny's Chant. Pretty impressed with her 2 runs so far this year for Twink Baumgartner. I know they'll be very happy to see the scratch of the 5 Victorious Spirit, who went with her last time in 21 and 3, and they were cooking. And I thought this horse did really well to hold on for 2nd. I think the pace scenario is going to slacken, and I think she's going to get the best of these mares and win another one. So I like the 7 Danny's Chant. You got to respect the 3 Silver Streak, as you mentioned. The connections are live, always live. The workouts are okay. But a filly coming back off a big layoff. We'll see how she does this afternoon. And I put the 5-horse Victorious Spirit was one of my top 3. Let's put the 4 Clarice B in for 3rd now. I thought a pretty good effort against the boys, going a mile and a 16th. Gets back in against the girls, does Clarice B. So I think she could be a threat in here. If Silver Street isn't ready, for that top effort to be in the exactor, perhaps put Clarice B in. But I do like Danny's Chant to win it. So now I was a 7-5-3. Now I guess I'm going to be a 7-3-4 in this afternoon's 6th race. So moving on to the 7th race, our feature event. Nice allowance event here. Non-winners of 2 lifetime.
Handicappers
this is a really good race.
Put your thinking cap on for this one.
Yeah, Got a field of 9, no scratches here. Good news. I've gone to the 6-horse Alberta Breeze. Pretty impressed with the 3 runs he's put forth so far this spring and early summer. Nice win when aggressively spotted for 25,000. Did it 3 and 4 wide the whole race and crushed Sir Hayden and Sartorialist. Came back to run a good second to Unquiet, who was unquestionably one of the top 3-year-old sprinters on the grounds.
Tough, yeah.
So it was a good run to run second. Then they tried him on BC Cup Day going long. Didn't get away well. He was just a mid-pack performer, but I think he'll enjoy the trip back to 6.5 furlongs. So I'm going to try Alberta Breeze to win it. Put the 5 Golden Triumph, one of the new parts of the purchase or the package that the Swift Thoroughbreds got off of Darley's stable, and I know this is one that they definitely really like. He is a 4-year-old that's slightly raced, hasn't run in a year, so almost 11 months since his last start for Golden Triumph. But the works have been good. Check out that move on July 14th and 120 and 4/5. That's a pretty salty 6.5 furlong move. Pedro rides it. I know he's been aboard for a lot of those workouts in the morning, so don't be surprised if this one's live at first asking. And I put the 8-horse Mysterious Soul, trying to get back on track. I know he's better going long, but had a bit of a hiccup, I guess, and he's had to miss some time. But he's had a little freshening up. He's got some works, and he hasn't been disgraced in his races behind Devil in Disguise, Wilo Cat, High End Man, and the Gov. I mean, his company lines are very strong, and he has performed admirably, albeit going long. So that's his only drawback. I think he could be a fast closing third with Amadeo Perez. I went 6.58.
There's a lot of ways to look at this one. This is probably the most interesting race on the card. I ended up, I have similar horses. I ended up with Golden Triumph on top. As you mentioned, as part of the Darley package, the Swift purchase, there's always some runners in there. They've had quite a bit of success with the package they got this year, and I know this is one of the ones they think awfully highly of. Maybe one of the keys to the package. Because of that, I'm going with him on top. He won a maiden special weight at Delaware. He was running in them in Belmont and fairly competitive in them. Those are tough races back there. You're running against $1 million horses. However, he's been off a year, but Dino knows what he's doing. He's had a lot of time with him now. He's been here for a few months.
I know he's been trying to get him in for a while, too.
Yeah,
like this horse has been, that's why there's so many works on tab. This horse, there hasn't been a non-2 allowance.
He came here and he was pretty much ready, but they've just been waiting and waiting.
Yeah, it's been very difficult getting races at this caliber to go, and that's why it's been so long.
And I don't think this is an overly tough one, really. There's some nice horses in here, but there's no monsters, so I have him on top. In the second spot, I took a bit of a flyer with Charlene Miller's horse, Dash Smartly.
Yeah.
An interesting kind of pick here. Very nice maiden breaker at Turf Paradise this past winter. Came back in a overnight stake or a stake, the Tempe Handicap. And I know Charlene was really, said he wasn't really handling the track that day. There's kind of, he had a lot of things.
Turf.
Yeah, it was turf. There's kind of a lot of things going against him. The second horse in there, Maker's Finale, is actually one of the nicer 3-year-olds in...
on the Emerald Derby.
He won the Emerald Derby. Yeah, one of the nicer 3-year-olds in Seattle right now. So I'm going with Dash Smartly in the second spot, and I picked the horse you took on top, Alberta Breeze, in the third spot. Definitely no horses like Taylor Steele, Wilo Cat, High End Man in here. He could definitely get the job done, but it's one you're going to want to look at because it's a pretty interesting race. A lot of different ways you could look at it. Stolen Notice is another one. Could be in the mix here. Ruffy Joe ran a fast time last time. There's lots of horses to look in here, but I ended up 5, 2, and 6. And on to the nightcap. Fillies and Mares, claiming 4,000, non-2. And I went with the horse that is going to be the favorite in here. I went with the 1, Maurice Glory. Broker Maiden just absolutely crushed when she went down to the $5,000 level. Broker Maiden by 8. 8 3/4, basically 9 lengths, or, for fun. Off that, Barb put her into one of those non-2, non-3, 17.5s, the race we saw earlier in the card. Put her in one of those, which it ended up being tough for her. She figured to fit in there. It ended up being a little bit tougher for her, but she makes no mistake. Puts her right back in the 4,000 non-2 level. I think she's a standout in here. I have her on top. The second spot, I have Flames Ablaze. And out of the Jim Brown barn, she's been knocking on the door at this kind of level all year. Lots of seconds and thirds in these kind of races. Jim's having a good year. I like her. Him and Reyes have good numbers together.
Yeah, they do.
Have her in second spot. And in third spot, I put Dave Dahl's Hasty Reply with Enrique Gonzalez board. Just got beat a length and 3/4 in this race last time by Golden Roar and Flames Ablazing. Switches from Marnie Williams to Enrique Gonzalez, a little bit stronger rider, so I like that move. So it's 1, 2, and 6 for me, but the 1 is definitely a single.
Yeah, this horse broke his maiden very easily. He was getting out a bit in that race, got away with it for maiden 5,000. Yeah. Then I know Barb was looking for different races, like 7,500, 15. They didn't really want to run it.
7,500,
they're not going along, so you were very kind of handcuffed where to run a filly like this. At a mile on the 16th, one finally went for 17.5. Give her a shot. You know, she flopped. Obviously, she's not that good, and she got out again. She was drifting out on the turns. So it's time to start winning races with her as well. And here's a race that went and on 2-4 and get her winning pilot back that kind of knows her well, Amadeo Perez, and she looks pretty good in here. I put the 2 Flames Ablazing, as you mentioned, for all the same reasons. Reyes and Jim Brown are going great. This filly's going well also. Ran a couple of very good races.
She's a tough little girl, yeah.
Yeah, she continues to run well, build up the old bank account. And the 10, Maddie Jade, I'm going to give a shot to for third. Richard Hamill rides this one. Got over coming outside draw, but this horse was running against the non-2, non-3s for 7,500. Finally dropped into a non-2-4 last time, but you know, ran into a good Hillingdon and Plain Jane. That was a tough non-2-4, and had to battle on the pace that day. I know it wasn't fast, but still, when you have the best horses kind of within a length of you, and they're revving their engines right behind you with the quarter pole, it's very tough when they put you away midway on the turn to hang on for anything. I think that was the case with Maddie Jade. She's better than a lot of these. I got to give her a shot for third. I went 1, 2, and 10. Well, I'll do it for the Wednesday, August 22nd edition of Handicappers Corner. Wish everyone lots of luck. Once again, early post 3:20. So get on out to Hastings. If you can't make it out there, don't forget you got the Derby Bar and Grill right here. You can watch lots of simulcast racing as well as, of course, Hastings Racecourse.
And we have our picks coming up. Just before we let you go, let's get the slates up.
Here we go.
Will be up first.
Recap of our selections. Back in race number 1, I went to the 3, Fei Ying. I went 3-6-1. In race number 2, I went to the 7, True Grit, 7-4-1. In the third race, I went to the 5, Dakar Guy. I went 5-7-2. In the fourth race, number 10, Tiger Town, 10-3-6. The fifth race, I went to the 8, Waif, 8-2-3. In the sixth race, I went to the 7, Danny's Chant. I'm going to go 7-3-4 now, as there is that scratch of the 5, Victoria's Spirit, in the sixth race. On to the seventh race, I went to the 6, Alberta Breeze, 6-5-8. In the nightcap, I went to the 1, Maury's Glory. I went 1, 2, and 10.
And on to my picks. There we go. In the first race, I agree with Mike. I went with the 3, Fei Ying, over the 1 and 6. In the second, I went with the 4, Matchable, over the 7 and 6. In the third race, took a little flyer here, the 8, Olaxa, over the 7 and 6. In the fourth race, I agree with Mike. Probably best bet of the day, number 10, Tigertown, over the 3 and the 8. In the fifth, I went with the 2, Tenzel, over the 8 and the 10. In the sixth race, I went with the 3, Silver Street, over the 7. I had 7 and 8, but I'm switching that now as Tecolote scratch. It'll be 7 and 9. El Ciervo on the third spot. In the feature, I went with the 5, Golden Triumph, over the 2 and the 6. And the nightcap, again, me and Mike agree on the 1, Maury's Glory, over the 2 and the 6.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing everyone next time here on Handicappers Corner. We'll be doing the Friday, August 24th show, as well as a quick preview of the Canadian Derby, which will feature Devil in Disguise as probably the heavy favorite in the $200,000 Canadian Derby, which is run this Sunday. But lots of stakes races on the program, too. I know Dave Forster has Heidi Maria,
Senior Rojo,
Madeira Park,
and Commander, another one of the Troy Taylor horses, is running against Senior Rojo in the Westerner. Yeah, a lot of
a lot of local horses running at Edmonton this Saturday, but we will preview the Canadian Derby as part of our Friday, August 24th edition of Handicappers Corner. On behalf of Drew, I've been Mike. Good luck on your wagers on the Wednesday program. We'll see you next time here on Handicappers Corner for the Derby Bar and Grill.